This is Bobroom, a Team Fortress 2 map made by Wolf Clock. Based on my notes, I got recommended this map a very long time ago by someone called Cob Kobu. I finally got around to it, so I hope you're happy. Sorry about the delay. This map consists of a series of rooms the player must navigate and solve the puzzles to progress. I asked the creator Wolf Clock a few questions about this map, and here's what I got back. Bobroom was his second map ever made back in 2014, but beforehand he did play around with mapping in Minecraft. It was inspired by nipper maps like Blah and similar exploration and adventure maps. Wolf Clock mentioned the random other game mode option on the Slag gaming servers as a source of inspiration too. This map was going to tie into a Half-Life 2 mod called Wolf Clock's Fun Box, which was unfortunately cancelled. So, what's the deal with Bob? At first I thought it was a simplified SpongeBob, but after asking Wolf Clock about him, it turns out he came from a Flipnote studio video he saw in his brother's DSi that had a character like Bob coming out of a stick figure's mouth, and the figure just kinda stuck with him. Bob appears in Wolf Clock's videos, mods such as his holiday mod series, and in games he's worked on, including his master's project Grimstone Valley. There he is. It's available for free on Steam if you want to check it out. It's a fun short game, kind of reminds me of Diablo 2 but with some like physics-y stuff to it. Anyway, I'm getting off track. There are two other maps in the Bob series. Bobble Field, a player destruction map, and Prop Kill Dodge Bob. At some point a Bob Run and a Bob Cart were planned, but never finished development. If you want to work this map out yourself, I suggest you stop watching here and go play it now. If not, then oh well, I'm about to spoil everything. Let's begin. We spawn in the Bobroom.
Hello, welcome to my map.
Fitting for the map, the walls and floors are covered in Bob, with a center cube featuring a ladder going into a portrait. Let's go check it out. Now we're in some kind of boxy cave. I assume you have to ride this block up to the next level. I did give it a good shot, but found it a bit buggy to get on. It's Bob. Well, that's not working. Let's see where this goes. Back to the start. Eventually I used the Wrangler to jump up. There's a convenient resupply locker up here too. I hit the Bob cube and I moved to the next level. I feel like this is trying to point something out. I placed down an exit so I can make it back here easier. That's a little scary, but not in the way intended, I think. In case you didn't work it out, we need to touch the glowing part of the pipe. What the fuck? When I got here the first time, I got very lost and needed to ask Wolfclock what to do. There's a pretty clear path to this shack on the other side. Now I've stuck with engineer for a reason. The next part will only take you in if you are an NG. Yeah, this is gonna suck. Oh god, there's arrows too. Finally. But I have to sacrifice myself to continue. This will open up a pathway in this corner here that will take us to the next room. Anyway, now we're at a house. I lay down a telly so I can make it back here later. Yeah, I'm not touching Bob again. There's a functioning bouncy castle. And a button that plays music. I think that's about it. Let's go in. I think this map was made by Wolfclock. Ooh, a button. Let's do a quick loop. Back in the house, let's check these rooms. Massive doors, by the way. With the perspective, it makes you feel like you're like a kid walking around a house or something. Over here we have a sleeping Bob.
Coming right up.
I was a bit lost as to where to go to next until I climbed up this tree, which teleported me to the attic. Walking to the box will take us to this climb section. I did most of this legitimately, but I will admit I no-clipped a few of the dodgier sections. And now we're in the music room. Time to play copyright bingo. Thankfully for me, Wolf Clock included an off button. I'm not too sure about these white spots, however, just a little sus. There's a panel on the wall in the corner that takes us to a new room. I'm not too sure what the trigger is, but I think hitting this thing on the wall will make a platform appear in the house area. I wasn't quite too sure which of these teleporters take you to the house room, so I did cheat a bit again and no clip to it. Well, time to climb. Yeah, I'm not doing all that again. At the top is a pyro and a small tree with an X and a pocket HHH. In case you didn't realize, this is telling us we need to go back to the orange room. X marks the spot. Now we're in a Bob themed gallery of sorts. This doorway will take us back to the pink cube at the start. I'll be honest, I got stuck here again in this room and ended up no clipping to get to the next part. I thought maybe I had to jump somewhere or enter the roller doors in a certain order, but I couldn't work it out. I asked Wolf Clock and it turns out there are some tiny bob cubes along the side of the wall here. Hitting the space between them will reveal the way to the next room. Now we're in some kind of laboratory. It appears Bob is conducting experiments on Bob, perhaps? We get a better explanation by hitting this thing here, where we can also get some Bob lore.
BOB Research Team Prime, entry number 586. It is only by now that we are beginning to understand the nature of this entity, Bob. and what he is capable of. So far, we have researched for about 2 years, and we know almost nothing more than what we knew when we first started. But we are certain of one fact, and that is that the self-replicating nature of this Bob thing could be disastrous for Earth and indeed all of our universe if he is so capable of escaping from this pocket dimension, the Bobroom that he resides in. Thankfully, it seems that whatever this thing is, it wants to stay here in the Bobroom, but we have seen some reportings of Bob appearing in other locations as well, and it could be a disaster for us if these additional Bobs found outside of the room begin to replicate, begin to send themselves out and try to spread throughout the universe. The Bob that we've had in our possession has been almost entirely dormant, but the research team has been growing pretty thin in recent times. Just last week, Gerald encountered a more hostile entity. We call this one Bob Prime. We haven't heard back from Gerald ever since. This concludes today's log. My highest recommendation is that we get rid of this place in any sort of ways to border into it as fast as possible. This is Professor Bastionson signing off.
I did hit all the other props to make sure I didn't miss anything. At the end of this room is 2 lifts to take us to the next section. Now we're at a beach, and a Bob under a Bobberella. Now I know the sign says no swimming, but we gotta check out this ship over here. Okay, maybe not that far out. Just can't escape the Bobs. Oh, okay. Is this the final Bob?
Yeah, I am the one true Bob. I will open the path for you, wherever you go next. Remember that I will always be with you.
Much obliged.
I don't know if that was a threat or not, but this path over here has opened up. That cat. It appears we are in the back rooms of Bobroom. I did try and get this platform to move, but couldn't work out how. I did check in with Wolf Clock, and it turns out this platform he never managed to get working. Oh well. Well, at the very least I can no-clip around myself and see what this map has to offer still. So that was Bobroom. But what about those other Bob maps? I did ask Wolf Clock if they had any lore connections, and according to him they are separate places inside the Bobroom dimension. There's also the holiday themed Half-Life mods to check out if you want more Bob 2. And that should be about it for this video. Thank you to Wolf Clock for giving me all this info about his map and other works.